All right. Welcome, everyone. This is Pivy Space. It's a platform hosted by Black in Mathematics Association. I will just briefly introduce what Black in Mathematics Association is. So this is an association that brings together Black mathematicians, female and male together into a common funnel, where we meet, and you find it as a body that you represent with. So what do we do in Black in Mathematics Association? We do a lot of research, we do a lot of webinars. We try to bring in senior research officers, professors, postdoctoral researchers, undergraduate students, masters and PhD students, and perhaps as well researchers in the industry to come together to do quality research. So the ham has a research arm which has grown from one group to six group, taking up different projects at the same time. The biomat group has is like six groups, and they are working on different diseases and socio-ecological problems. Then we have the pure mathematics group, and we also have workshops and seminars, and these are what we do. So Piview Space is just a a platform within BMA where we look at both female and male veterans or mathematicians or early career researchers who are really doing well and actually representing mathematics in every sphere of industries that we have. We've been able to interview Professor Atagana, Abdul Atagana, which we know him very well. We call him the founder of fractional derivatives. We've been able to interview the Golden Professor from University of Lagos. We've been able to interview Professor Emmanuel Bakari, one professor in Nigeria for the first time who was able to get a grant and employ a postdoc in Nigeria. And these are people who are really, really doing well. To bring this to your notice, this is the first female Black mathematician which we'll be having on this platform. And I would say that it's not easy to get female mathematicians in our field who are not just in the classroom, but they are actually touching every sphere of the field where they are. And it's such an honor and a privilege to welcome our first female mathematicians on the Piview space, which is the person of Dr. Morenike Deborah Akinlotan. She will be introducing us ourselves to us. And like I said, this is an informal platform. We chat, we talk, and we ask questions. And a time will come, we'll be giving the platform to ask questions around. So on this note, without too much ado, permit me to welcome and give the floor to Dr. Morenike Deborah Akinlotan. So, Doctor, can we meet you?
Thank you very much, Dr. Jimmy. Can you all hear me very well?
Loud and clear.
Awesome. Thank you. It's a privilege to be here. Thank you so much at this middle of the night. It's amazing what time it is over there, but I'm really grateful to be here. And I consider it, I don't know, Dr. Jimmy, you speak so highly of me, but this is just me. But
That's the
thank
truth.
you for the honor anyway. So as you've said, my name is Morenike Deborah Akinlotan. And I'm Nigerian. I'm a female and I'm a child of God. So I'm a mathematician, as you all know. I hail from Ondo State in Nigeria. But I grew up in Lagos State from a family of five. I'm the first child. And I'm married to an Ekiti man. I'm married with three children. Um, what else? So I grew up in a family that deeply values education and faith, and my upbringing was rooted in discipline, resilience, faith. Believe in hard work, in a belief that we can get wherever we want to get to. So my father did not have a lot of formal education, but he had the opportunity of working with a lot of people that had exposure, and he realized how the kind of leverage that education gives. So he gave it all he could to give us the education that we have, and for that we're grateful. So even though we come from a very low socioeconomic background, he tried his very best. My first degree was from the University of Ibadan, where I studied pure and applied mathematics. And then after that, I um, got a scholarship to go to the African Institute for Mathematical Sciences in South Africa for a postgraduate diploma. So then it was only the South African arm that they had. It was when we were there that they started all the other annexes in other countries. So then it was a postgraduate diploma in mathematical sciences. And after that, I got a scholarship to do my master's by research at the University of Stellenbosch under the supervision of Professor Farai Badza, a wonderful supervisor. And after that, I got a scholarship to get my PhD in Australia, where I'm right now, where I did a lot of modeling and all that. I'm still going to talk about some of the things I've done. Um, but yeah, so after then, here I am. uh, Applied mathematician that has dipped my feet into quite a number of fields and all of that. So, in multidisciplinary career that bridges maths and starts with public health and environmental science. So my journey hasn't been linear, but each step has been a purpose-driven one, whether in research or mentoring or entrepreneurship or community engagement. So that's a summary of me and some of my journeys.
To be honest, you've answered like four questions that I have here.
That's cool.
To be sincere, but that's really great. The next question I really want to ask is, you know, our field is very funny in a way that it's hard to see it's hard to see female mathematician. I will use the word hard because it's one thing to be there and it's another thing to be impactful. To be I knew about you on LinkedIn and I was like, who is this person? Who is this female mathematician who she's doing this, she's doing that? I like people that impact their community.
Mm,
You can be great, you can be good, but if you
mm,
don't impact your community, I really have much respect for people like that. But when I see the
mm.
things you do, and I was like, this is just an example of female mathematician. So I want to
Mm.
ask, what really changed the narrative for you that gives you the possibility to be out there? Because not just being brilliant, not just being having those wealth knowledge, but at the same time, you are very, very impactful in the community. What things and are
Thank you. That's a very good question. There's something I often champion, and that is the fact that it's hard to become what you've never seen. If you
mm,
understand what I mean, like if you've never seen a prototype of something, you may not even know that you could become that thing. So I think I owe a lot of my courage. Of course, first to God. I'm going to be talking about my faith a lot. It's hard for me to separate, my faith from who I am because it's the embodiment of who I am. But, you know, I owe it first to God. Which from where I derive my sense of purpose from. Because I know that life is not to be lived just for yourself. You've got to also flow out to other people. Like it's just like a stagnant water, if you only keep receiving and holding, like, a water that keeps getting water from other bodies and doesn't flow out to others, it's tenches, it's stagnant. So you've got to keep flowing and giving out also. But also, I also owe it to a lot of role models I had around me. So at the University of Ibadan, I believe many of you would know Professor Ubebo, for example. I believe she was the first female professor of mathematics in Nigeria. So I had people like that teach me from 100 level in the University of Ibadan. And then I also had people like Professor Deborah Ajayi around me. I think as of that time, she was on some international program or thereabout, but I knew about her. And a few other persons. I knew about Professor Ububo. I forgot her first name. So I had this very few, but a number of female mathematicians around me who were doing really well. Like these were not women that didn't have a voice. Even though we know in the Nigerian context, in the African context, their voices could be louder, if you understand what I mean.
Yeah. Oh,
Their influence could be broader. There's the system, which I don't really want to go into. But yeah, I had those kind of people around and I saw what they were doing. I saw the kind of influence they had on me, the kind of boldness, that's just seeing them do what they were doing, even internationally, put into me. And the fact that they were also interested in us and they were very encouraging, they were encouraging us, especially someone like Professor Bebo, Olabisi Bebo. So that already became ingrained into me, I believe. And then so I kind of maybe felt like I owe it to, the next generation to pass on the baton, to pass on the goodness of being a role model and being a mentor to other people. So that is there. And then the other thing also was that I realized that mathematics was and is still a male dominated field. And I remember when I wanted to study maths, one of my neighbors, who I believed was a wealthy person and he was well exposed, was asking me then what I wanted to do after high school. Heard that I had good results. I was like, oh, what do you want to do? And then I said, I want to go and study mathematics. And he was like, why do you want to go and study mathematics? Do you want to be a poor teacher? And that word really, it kind of was at the back of my mind because I felt like, no, I don't want to be a poor teacher. I want to do something great. As a matter of fact, I went into mathematics because the first course I wanted wasn't coming through, which was petroleum engineering. And then at first it was petroleum engineering. You know how the way jam hits you all the time.
yeah.
And I'm sure it's still probably eating people right now. So, and then the second time I tried to get in through electrical electronics engineering, which I couldn't. I didn't meet the cutoff. So I was advised by someone to go through mathematics. That was the first thing. So I didn't go in because I wanted to be a mathematician. I went in because I felt that, okay, I'll go in through math and then I'll cross over, for which reason I took a lot of courses in my first year that could help me to cross over indeed. But then, right from the very first year, I realized that I have a love for maths. And then also I had been on the first class degree right from 100 level. So the department wasn't going to release me readily to cross over, but then there was also the God factor because I've always been a kind of person that it's God's will or not. Because I had a very strong moral, spiritual upbringing. So, like, we're really taught about walking in the will of God, ensuring that you're working according to purpose, if you understand what I mean. So all of those things shaped me, which was why I then stayed in mathematics. But then, so all of those influence and the direction I keep getting, even spiritually, they all just keep shaping me to be who I am today and who I will be by God's grace. So I kind of felt like having that at the back of my mind, someone saying to me that, do you want to be a poor teacher? And seeing all the influence of people around me, and then realizing the world of opportunities that was actually out there as a mathematician and what a mathematician could actually be, not just ending up in the classroom. Like we could be more, there is more we could do. I felt like I needed to pass on that baton to the next generation to know that there is more and you can actually do this. I was at a talk at a high school about 2 months ago with some of my colleagues, and the cohorts that came, many of them were from CALD schools. CALD is culturally and linguistically diverse students. So these are students that some of them are their parents, most of them probably born in Australia, but their parents are probably from Somalia, a lot of African countries, and a few of them from Asia and stuff like that. So many of them come from families that the parents are not really educated. They're not really exposed. Some of their parents can't even speak English properly. So, and some of these kids have not even seen the university wall. You'll be very surprised, even though we're all in Australia. and they don't live too far away from the city, but they've not even seen the university wall. So they don't even realize that there are other women in there doing things, how much more Black women doing things out there. So I was there, and whenever I'm talking to those kind of people, I talk with a genuine passion from inside my heart. And I was like, if I can do it, you can. And and those kids were just kind of thrilled the way they were clapping. My colleague was like, "Oh wow, it was so good you were there," because when every other person was talking, they were just looking like, "Oh, duh." But when you started talking, it was like, "Oh wow!" Especially when one of my colleagues was also saying some of the things I was doing. So all these kind of things and those kind of moments really make you feel like, no, I've really got to do more. I've really got to let the next generation know. I've really got to, even for my kids, I've got two girls, I mean, and thankfully they're also artsy and all those kind of things. So the mere fact that they see their mom doing it and grinding and trying every day, it makes them to also know that, yeah, I can do it. And I always tell them that every day, you can do it. If I can, you can do it, and you can do even more. So I
Mm.
think those are some of the things that really, really
Oh,
drive me and that has influenced me.
now that's interesting. So now, what would you say? Because being a female mathematician, thriving in the world in a field where males have really dominated the space. For someone like me, if you look at Black in Mathematics and Association, we really give much more voices to females. Yeah, because we believe that they bring this awesome beauty to the table.
Mm,
We have this funny. There's a meeting I attended. We have this funny thing. We say men are hardware, women are software. See, you can't be having hardware all around. You need the software to to make things balance. All of that. And
mm,
we really support gender diversity. So there are certain projects where we've made women the leader, not just because of anything, but just because they are a voice that must be heard. But let me
mm,
ask this: that how have you been able to overcome some of the obstacles as you were climbing the ladder as a female? Because these are one of the questions some of the participants in the Google form. There's a place where we have questions for Dr. Deborah, and these are some of the questions which came up. How do you overcome some of those obstacles in like 2 minutes? Because
mm.
there's a lot of questions they have for you here. And
Okay.
sorry to say, and to the participants that are here, if you have questions for us, you can drop it in the chat. Somebody will be there to look up those questions and we'll ask them. So the
Mm.
floor.
Thank you very much, Dr. Adejimi. So there truly are lots of obstacles, as a female mathematician, and then to be honest, as a Black female mathematician, I'm
Yeah.
sure you can resonate with the Black part.
Yeah,
Because
very well.
even though you're not a female, you're a male, but you're Black, and
Yeah.
even though we say, we don't like to say these things out loud because I personally don't like to have a victim mentality, but it's there. It's there, and we've got to tell ourselves the truth. So there are truly lots of barriers, but I would say that one of the major barriers I find is even from inside of me, and it is that imposter syndrome. The feeling that I don't belong here. Am I a fraud for being here? How did I even get here? Like, do I belong in this room? Do I belong in this table? I don't want to talk. I don't want to be perceived as stupid. What if I open my mouth and it's not the right thing that comes out, and all of that? So I think one of the major barrier for me had been the imposter syndrome, you know. But I wouldn't say I've overcome it. To be I think it's a progressive thing. And I realized that it's not just me, you know, I've looked at even people that are really there's virtually no one that are top in their fields, even female, especially females that do not have this imposter syndrome. And when I
Yeah.
mean really, really top people, I mean really top people. They're always like virtually everyone have got that imposter syndrome feeling. But maybe for some of us it's a bit more, especially when you're a woman and you're on a table where they are mostly men, and also maybe based on different temperaments and all that. So I think that's one of the main thing for me. And some of the ways I've been able to overcome them is by finding mentors. You know, it's
Yeah.
always good to find someone you can look up to, someone you can relate with, which again, as I said, is one of the things that drives my passion for mentoring, especially for young females and all that. Because when you see someone else like you doing it, it kind of encourages you, it gives you more hope that I can also do it. If this person can do it, I can do it. So I often, support, I surround myself with mentors or role models. A mentor is someone that you actively have a relationship with that helps you, but a role model may be someone that you look at from afar and you just
Yeah.
follow them and look at what they are doing, how they're achieving things, and use to support to encourage yourself. Another thing is I have supportive networks around me. You know, some people like to put it as, surrounding yourselves with people with positive energy. I would say that sometimes it's good to find your own support system. We all need support systems. If you can't just be alone, in anything, especially if you are disadvantaged in some way, or if you are a minority group, you need a support system. So I surrounded myself with some support system, some of which are spiritual support systems, some of which are just mentors that are not even necessarily in the field, but people that could speak into my life or pull me up when I feel down, people I could talk to. And then also reminding myself that my perspective brings something valuable and necessary to the field, no matter what it is. And irrespective of the imposter syndrome, I found out that whenever I open my mouth to speak, the kind of wisdom and knowledge that comes out, it makes me to even realize that, oh, okay, Deborah, you've got a lot in this head. Sometimes, even though you sometimes feel like there's nothing there, so putting myself out there, I put myself out there. I try to meet people. I try to challenge myself. So some of these things help me to overcome them. I would say another important challenge that I've also faced is, detours into interdisciplinary areas, uh,
Mm.
which has kind of, helped to reestablish my confidence and competence. And I do this by seeking collaboration, embracing continuous learning, you know, for example, sort of like the kind of relationship I have with you, Dr. Adejimi. So yeah, so I don't take too much time. Those are some of the challenges I've had and some of the ways I've overcome them.
Awesome. Now, there's a question from one of the participants, which I will bring up here. Um, I think is a she. Is that how do you overcome the challenges that comes your way as an applied mathematician?
Hmm.
Changes that involves you learning and applying different mathematical package and theoretical knowledge in solving problems.
Could you repeat that question, please?
How do you overcome the challenges that comes your way as
Mhm.
an applied mathematician? Challenges that involves you learning and applying different mathematical package and theoretical knowledge in solving problems.
Hmm. Okay, so I think that's more of a. So you see, how do I put this? I'm a stickler for learning. Like that's just my life. Like I see anything as game on, let's do this. I face it like,
Yeah.
especially if someone has ever done it before, even if no one has ever done it before. If there's ever been a way this has been approached, game on. I learn it. I don't really see I don't see any new problem or any new projects as a problem per se. I see it as a challenge, as a mountain I have to surmount. And then so usually the way I would see them as, okay, I've got this problem or this new project I need to approach. I've never done this before. Sometimes I don't even have all the tools or all the skills I need for it. But then I ask myself, for me to be able to solve this problem, what are the things I need to learn? So which is why I said that I'm a stickler for learning. I'm always learning in everything I do, new methods, new tools and stuff like that. So I just open myself to learning. And for me, I can learn from anyone. One thing I always tell students when I teach them is that learn from anyone, be humble enough to ask for help from people. If Dr. Jimmy teaches me something today, it's not going to be written on my forehead that it was Dr. Jimmy that taught her how to do integration. I take that knowledge and I go elsewhere. I go act like a champion. They wouldn't know that it was Dr. Jimmy that taught me. So, because some people can be, too big to ask for help or to ask for direction from people. Like I can learn from even a first year student if you have what I need to learn. So I'm very open to learning. And again, I take any new challenge, any new problem or any new thing as a problem that needs to be solved, not I don't know what am I going to say? I don't see it as I see it as a positive challenge, even though sometimes they take me out of my comfort zone. But I know that I've got to do it, so I just face it game on and try to look for the tools that I need to do. I think it's just having this learning attitude and just knowing that you may never get to a place where you know it all. You will always continue to learn as far as you're in research, and things about development. So yeah, I hope I answered that question, but that is the way I take things. Whatever it is, I'm just like, okay, I've got this right in front of me. What do I need to do this? And then I do a lot of research. Sometimes I ask questions from people. I attend workshops, I seek even sometimes senior people that are in that area ask questions. I ask questions a lot. I ask questions a lot. So I think maybe that's one of the things that has helped me. I don't keep quiet. And that's one of the things I tell people. Don't keep quiet. They say a closed mouth is a closed destiny, right? I don't keep quiet. If I'm stuck on something, I could ask an undergraduate who I think knows it, and they'll teach me. And then I'll do further research and I'll get onto it. So yeah, that's it about me. I hope
Yeah.
I captured that question properly.
Apparently, the person who answered the question from the registration link actually said that yes, you did answer my question, man. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. All right.
Yeah, exactly. One of the questions I want to ask is, of course, your contributions to the mathematics community have been widely acknowledged as influential. Could you, in like 3 minutes, could you elaborate on some of the initiatives, collaborations,
Hmm.
or mentorship programs you have been involved in that has a transformation impact on the field, or the ones you established by yourself?
Hmm. Thank you very much. So the way you can say my contributions, I'm just doing such little contributions. I don't know.
Yeah, we have to celebrate and appreciate every
You're saying it's
little.
widely acknowledged. Okay, I don't know about that. But I'm just trying in my little corner, just trying to contribute my quota. So yeah, I've been involved in various interdisciplinary research projects, really. Many of them not really my initiative, I see opportunities and I like to jump onto them. But I've done a lot of interdisciplinary research projects that integrate mathematics with public health, environmental policies, particularly through simulation modeling, mathematical modeling, optimization, name it, Bayesian modeling, and all those kind of things. So, and all of those things open you to a lot of world of opportunities. A lot of people seeing opportunity to collaborate with you when they see that, especially when they see you're able to adapt to different kind of problems using your tools. So it kind of makes you. I wouldn't say I'm really like a choice person per se, but it just opens you up to a world of opportunities when you are malleable enough to jump from different kind of projects to the other. But I would say some of the other initiative I collaborate on, especially mentorship programs, they're not my initiative. They're just initiatives that I volunteered on. For example, one of them, there's an organization in Australia called the Community. What's Cyro? What's the family of Cyro again?
Let me check. Yeah, I remember. Yeah, CIS,
Yes,
CSR
yes,
or something like that.
yeah. So many years ago,
Yeah, Commonwealth Scientific and Industrial Research.
yes, thank you. Is that all?
Okay, just 1 minute. Where's
Anyway,
Yeah, I'll
Cyro,
get it. Yes,
yeah,
Cyril.
a government organization. So they have different initiatives. There was one they called Mathematicians in Schools. So I volunteered for them many years ago. I think that was between 2000 and
Yeah, Commonwealth Scientific and Industrial Research Organization.
yes, organization. Thank you. Yeah, so I volunteered for them as a mathematician in school. Interestingly, the school that I volunteered for then is the school my children are going to now. So there was a young lad they had then. I believe he was in year 4 or 5. The guy was very, very smart, a very young kid, but he could crack even high school mathematics. And then I was paired with his teacher to work with him. Beyond that, I think I stopped then when I had my second daughter. I got very much busier, so I paused doing that. But then, a little while after that, I also volunteered for the Wonder of Science. It's also another initiative with the University of Queensland, where we go to high schools. Many of us go to high schools in teams to demonstrate to them some of the things we are doing with STEM related courses. So some of us are more lab based people, a lot of us are more computational and simulation based people, someone like me. And then we go to show them some of the ways we're using science and maths to solve real world problems, to challenge the young people. Then that I also left a few years ago, but currently I'm back to Cyro actually. I just recently signed up again for their scientists in school program, where again we'll be going to schools to talk to high school students, encourage them in STEM related courses. And then I'm also a mentor for the diving STEAM. STEAM meaning science, technology,
Ah,
engineering, arts, and mathematics.
yeah.
So this is particularly tailored towards a CODE student. CODE again meaning culturally and linguistically diverse student. So many of these students, like I said, are from families that are from migrant families, and we found out that a lot of them are still a little bit different when it comes to the exposure compared to other Australian kids. So we mentor them, to boost their confidence more, support them so that they're able to achieve their goals and all of that. So I do one-on-one mentoring in that capacity. So it's not, none of them are really my initiative, but I just, because I know that there are already systems doing all of that already. So why reinvent the wheel? So I just
Hmm.
jump onto the other things. But if I was probably in Nigeria, maybe I would have started some initiatives if there were none. Or again, because I mean, personally, I'm not really someone that feels like I should be at the I should be the one at the forefront, or I should be the champion of the thing. If someone else is doing it, let's put them together and make it work. So that's the
Yeah.
kind of person I am. So I think and that's it. So and all of these things have really helped me to navigate academic pathways and even build my own confidence in what I'm doing. Especially
Hmm.
when I do all of these things and I see the way it truly sparks the interest of some of these kids. And when I say this children, I'm not even talking about just African students. I'm talking about people even with Asian parents and from so many other countries and continents of the world. So I also do guest lecturing, outreach events, peer support initiatives, and all of that, aiming to demystify mathematics and make it more inclusive and practice oriented. So these are some of the ways I contribute to the mathematics community, and maybe an example, maybe this kind of platform also it's one of the ways. So yeah.
To be honest, I think I would say you are really doing the work because you are dealing with guys who are the foundation.
Hmm.
And if the foundation is not well structured, everything you build on it will eventually collapse, no matter how much you
That's
start.
correct.
So that's to say that you're actually doing a great work. Now, there is a question here from from someone in South Africa, Onchuno Simanga.
Hmm.
Yep, yeah. And I think he's here. Let me greet him. I don't know which tribe he's from, whether he's from the Zulu or from Botswana, but I will greet you, Jamila. The guys, I can see. Yeah, Jamila. I hope I'm right, Nchunu. So he asked the question. He said, "What new research can one explore in applied mathematics?"
What new research?
Yeah, can one explore in applied mathematics?
Hmm. I think my first question would be why 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 the question? I don't know how to how to say. what new research? I would rather say what new problem,
Mm.
you know? So you said what new research can one do in applied mathematics, right?
Yeah.
So I would rather say, so okay, so maybe I should use myself as an example. Although many of the research I've done has been based on the opportunities available that tally with my interests, but I'm also someone that I do research that truly speaks to something in me or a kind of value I have. And one of the values I have when it comes to research is that doing something that is translational, something that, using my mathematical skills to solve problems that truly influence humans or animals or environments, something that is indeed translational into the real world. I guess that's why I didn't go the abstract math route. Even though I loved my linear algebra and real analysis, I chose to, stay more with the applied things. So I would say that the way I would look at it is that what new problem is out there that my mathematics can solve or that my mathematics can be used to solve them. What new challenges out there? For example, there is a lot of things with climate change, and it's even though there is a lot of political debate about whether it's real or not, I'm assuming it's real. I'm sticking to the fact that it's real. And it's changing a lot of things. For example, it's changing the course of even diseases. One of my recent research is looking at some mosquito-borne viruses, and for those of us in that area, you would realize that changing temperatures is affecting, how different vector-borne diseases and stuff like that are appearing or spreading to places where they weren't before. So that's an area that, although there's a lot of focus on it right now, but there's still a lot of gaps. There's still a lot of things we don't know about them. A lot of the things we're doing as hypothetical, that is just one area. There's a lot of things that can be looked into. I think it's not just about looking for what's the new area, it's about thinking what are the problems or what are the potential problems that we could have in the future with the way things are going. I don't know, I've not really been seeing a lot of mathematical modeling of the potential of a World War III or how some of the policies we are doing, could spark all of these things. Probably they are out there. I've never done the research, but it's not common. There's a lot of things we can look at, or how some of the trade wars and all the, you know, just think about what are the problems around or the potential problems that could be, or what are some of the areas that people have been looking into before, but that they've not really been able to track down. If you look at a lot of research articles, for example, you would see people tell you, oh, these are the limitations of this study, or these are the future directions. Some of those future directions, we just leave them there and we hop on to the next project. Who is looking into those future directions? Who is looking into, the limitations of a study and how things can be done better? Who is looking into how to improve them? So I think it's just about looking for what are the problems out there to solve, what are the study gap, the research gaps out there? What are the things people are not paying attention to? Because I told you before, I used to think that, oh, people have done all the modeling. So many people have modeled dengue virus. So many people have modeled this. But the more I studied, the more I realized that people are leaving a lot of things on the table. And so many of us are doing the same thing, just tweaking one little thing. And I used to be in that kind of bubble. I mean, so I did my, anyway, yeah, but but I realized that it's not just about publishing papers right now, because if it's about just churning out papers every year, I tell you, I'll churn out papers every year. But I've come to realize that it's about really doing a research that truly is impactful. It's not just about me changing one parameter in one model or just adding one compartment to a model to make my model more a bigger system, and then I do all the dynamical analysis and all of that, and I create a new paper. I can do that forever. But all of those research, is it truly changing anything? Is it truly contributing genuinely to knowledge? Or I'm just reinventing the wheel, nothing new, everybody just cycling around similar things and stuff like that. So yeah, new research, what are the problems out there? What are the gaps people are not filling? What can I do differently? Even the problems people have been attacking, How can I do these things differently? For example, I've thought about so many of the problems that we're looking at. People just use ordinary differential equations. How about use discretized special differential equation? How about using impulsive delay equation, to attack some problems, put impulses like solutions or policies or interventions into things. Like there's so many ways, so many things that can be explored out there. Just look for what really drives you or
Mm.
what is important to you. Like I've said mine, anything that would directly impact policies drives me a lot because it gives me that sense of fulfillment that my research is meaningful. I'm contributing to something very important. If yours is about health, you don't just do research for doing sake. Don't just do it because you want to publish papers. Then you publish the papers and you get the citations and everyone is citing one another and all of that, but you're not really changing anything. Like you're not making any impact, like real impact when it comes to policies. Like are the government able to cite your paper that it was because of this paper where considering these policies or stuff like that. So yeah, that's just the point. It's good to do research, it's good to publish, but let's all come back to the table that am I creating this model just because I want to have a paper? Am I doing this research? Am I just changing this compartmental model someone in the US have done or someone in South Africa has done just because I need the next paper? Or do I truly see a research gap, like an important problem that I think we all should be looking at and paying attention to? And you see, when you do things that are really translational, you would get attention to your work. You know,
Yeah.
you will get more citations even when you do something that is truly meaningful. It may take you a while, it may take you time to really even get it out there, but then you have more impact than people that I know academia is publish or perish and it has to do with a lot of papers. So you've got to balance, you've got to balance this too, but look for the new problems out there, look for the things that people are not looking at. Read papers, look at some of those research gaps, some of those future directions, some of those suggestions people are given, even though they may not know how to do it, but try to find ways of addressing them. Even sometimes making some models, so many of the models we've created out there that may be complicated. We may not even need an 8 compartmental model. It may just be a 3 compartmental model or a 4 compartmental model. They said all models are useless, but some are useful. That's the truth. A lot of those models are useless. Like, I'm sorry to say, like now I'm looking back and I'm looking at so many of those papers. They don't make sense. Sorry. Like the models they're not practical. They're too complicated, too many parameters. Just do something that truly addresses problem, and yeah, you would have a headway. I hope I've not confused you. Yeah, that's
Well,
this.
thank you, Antonio. Let me just buttress that because it's not my show here; it's your show here. But just to
No,
just to buttress something, um, sometimes looking for what is new or looking for something that has not done before, it depends on the way you conceive it. It could be it could be out of the discussion or probably out of maybe an intuition. I'll give an example. Uh, Many of you might not know here, but I was talking with Dr. Dansu. That was 2020, maybe one or so. It's just in a discussion. And I know myself, a lot of ideas, sometimes jams in my brain. So we were talking about, researchers all over the world and things like that, what they are doing. And I just had this thing in my head. I said, Dr. Dansu, can we really model this brain drain, this migration and something like that? And of course, Dr. Dansu, for who he is, he believes anything is possible. And he said, yes, we can. So I looked and I found out that there is really no model in the world that has actually modeled that kind of thing. So I said, Dr. Lance, I said, we need to, yeah, it took us 2 years to work on that. But after we are done, the work gained a lot of publicity. And that was the first model to model something that has to do with brain drain from the mathematical perspective. We didn't use too much compartment. I think it's just four.
yeah.
And between that time that it got published middle of last year till now, it has had like 4 citations. And those citations are not from the field of mathematics.
Wow.
Yeah, they are from the field of economics, history, psychology, and for those guys, to cite a mathematical paper, then
Mm.
it means that thing has touched a core that is there. So it's all about looking for things, not just, yeah, what I would say. There is really nothing new. It's just that it's new because it has just been idealized in a way. It's been there. It's a problem. Yours is just to puncture the atmosphere and see what and what you can bring. So there's a very particular question here, but before I ask that question, motherhood is something that is very sensitive. Yeah, yes, we have the fatherhood side, yeah, is there. But because you're a female mathematician, how have you been able to manage marriage, motherhood, and this career part?
Mm.
People believe that a lot of, to be honest, a lot of female mathematicians hide under that, I'm a mother, I'm this, I'm that. But the truth is you are also a mother, but you've been able to navigate the path. How did you do it? Even though I don't know how many females are here, but we have many men here. How did you do it?
But when you say navigate, you say like as if I have it all figured out. I have no, I'm just taking one day at a time. Trust me.
Yeah.
It's challenging. I must say it is challenging, but I want to give a lot of credit to my husband, to be honest, because I have a very supportive husband. God bless him. Um,
Men in the house, hands in the hair.
yeah, yeah, like really. I mean, he's made a lot of sacrifices for me, for my career. So I don't think I would have been able to do all I've been able to do without his support because we've got three children and they're still all young. Like my eldest is only turning 11 this year, and I've got a 5-year old, my son. So sometimes I've had to travel, be in talks, and all those kind of things, and it would hold the house together. So without that kind of support, it would have been hard. So yeah, that's that. But so when you say I've navigated, to be honest, I would tell you that I don't like to say this, so I'm trying to look for a positive way of saying it. But motherhood has also kind of slowed me down a little bit. I'm being realistic because if I was I could have achieved a lot more than I have right now if I didn't have motherhood there. But also, I did not see my motherhood as a problem, really. I just saw it as a part of life, even though I know that it brings about quite a number of limitations. And when I mean limitations, it could be things like I can't go to all the conferences I want to go to. I really have to weigh the ones I should go to. That's one of it. I can't go to all the networking events I want to go to. A lot of them being in the evening, you know there's got to be school pickups, and children need their parents around, because at the end of the
Yeah.
day, what career am I chasing if my children are not well looked after? So family values is important. But then, going from the more negative side to the positive side, um I think the fact that I'm a mother even you know, makes it something more encouraging for me to excel at what I do. Because what mouth will I have to tell my children to excel if I'm not excelling, if I'm not pushing
Mm.
it, if I'm not trying it? I've got to be a role model, not just for people outside. My role modeling starts from home. Like I said, I've got two girls, I've got a boy. So my role modeling starts from home. They know that mom is a mathematician, they're proud of it. They know that mom is, even though they don't really know the research I'm doing, but they know I'm doing something out there. They see me doing it. So the mere fact that I'm doing it, like, I don't even need anyone to tell them that, oh, you're a girl, you can do this. I do tell them that I'm intentional about that, but I'm taking one day at a time, through all the challenges of, take care of kids, drop them off at school, and then go to school, or me and my husband balancing things and all of that. But again, I still say I thank God for a very supportive husband who made it, easier, but it's not easy. I must confess to you. Yeah, but I think it's also just me knowing that I'm a mother does not mean I should not fulfill my destiny. That I'm a mother does not mean that I should not do what I've got to do The only thing is that I've got to try to strike a balance between, and I would say I don't have the balance yet, to be honest. I did not have I did not have the work-life balance yet. It's a struggle every single day, but we're managing, we're
Yeah.
taking one day at a time where we're going there. But then also I have very understanding children because children can be understanding even though they require a lot of time, but you when you're around you try to be around for them, and so they understand that when you're away. But when I'm around, I try. I don't I, It's not all the time. I guess I get complaints from them sometimes a lot that, mom, you're often on your phone, because I'm a business person also. So I do a lot of business with my phone and all of that, and like, but sometimes when they say I need to talk to you, I'm like, all right, my kid, I'll just take the phone and put it down, like, yeah, it's your show now, to make them feel that sense of importance. So it's
Yeah.
it's a lot of striking and balancing, and every situation is unique, every situation is different. But as a woman, and I'm an African woman, let's be honest, I've got a man, and I'm not going to rub it on his face that, oh yeah, look, I'm a mathematician, I've got to do what I have to do and all of that. And I'm a Christian also, so I know the place of my husband in my life, and all of that. But again, still saying, I'm thankful to God that he's a very supportive person, but also I let him understand some of the things I need to do, that I have to do. And he met me in this field before we got married and all of that. So I believe that helps quite a lot. It's not just something I started when we were in the home, where you could say, oh, no, you can't do that one. No, you can't do this one. So that really helped a lot. And then, making the kids to understand, and then sometimes also getting your money to work for you. For example, putting the kids in childcare or after school care, which we have stopped now, again, just so that we can have more time with them. And my husband making a lot of the sacrifices. So honestly, it's hard. It's challenging, can be draining sometimes, but
Yeah.
you've just got to do what you have to do. I'm not going to stop my life now because I've got a family,
Uh-huh.
but then I've just got to strike a balance with it every single day. But yeah, yeah. I don't know if I answered that question well, but I think it's just
Yeah.
about doing that. I've just got to do this. I've just got to
Exactly.
do this. And it takes a lot of resilience, to be honest. It takes a lot of resilience. It takes a lot of strength. Like there are days I don't have the strength. There are days I'm working under the load, but then I just pick up myself again and say, no, I can do this. You can do this. I'm a person of prayer also. So many times I'm always asking God for strength. God help me. God help me.
Yeah.
Asking for strength, asking for grace. Sometimes speaking even to mentors, and again surrounding myself with network of similar people, and seeing how every one of us are navigating it all together. So yeah, that's it for me.
To be honest, for people that are out there doing a whole lot, sometimes people don't know what they go through or what
Mm,
they sacrifice.
mm,
Yeah, I'm saying this from the perspective of someone who's actually out there as well. And I have a
mm,
couple of friends who are out there too, doing a whole lot. And
mm,
sometimes when we get talking, okay, okay. So sometimes when we get talking, we come to talk about our weaknesses and say, guy, like I had a friend then, one way or the other, he fell sick. And
mm,
people were still sending emails and this, we need their attention. I told him, he said, see, they don't even know he's not feeling fine. And the only thing they are asking is bring, 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 bring. And I just had to tell the guy, I said, see, number one, understand this. You're not the last option for anyone. You're not.
mm,
Because once we are not there, they will look
mm.
for somebody else. So
That's
if it warrants you to get your sanity back
mm,
and be fine. See, you have been given a voice.
mm,
At every point in time, that voice will speak when you are back. So for now, calm down because they go through a lot of pains because it's life, it's non-linear, and you don't know what they go through. But
mm,
for them to be out there, it requires a lot. And which is why for everyone out there, I sincerely do appreciate. If I send an email and you don't respond, I just understand that
yeah.
it's either life is happening to you or you're the one happening to life, either way, or you
Oh
are
my
you are busy with many things. Okay, Abiodun Alabada, I will check the Google Doc and see your question. But here is a question from someone. He said, Quite often, academics become tired of working in an esoteric environment which has little applications to in the real world. Is
Hmm.
it possible to see, is it possible to foresee the potential impact of a mathematics project before committing? Because I am tired of working on theoretical research which can impact people's lives.
Could you please repeat that question?
Yeah, okay, just 1 minute. Um, Quite often, academics become tired of working in an esoteric environment
Hmm.
which has little applications in the real world. Is
Mhm.
it possible to foresee the potential impact of a mathematics project before committing? Because I am tired of working on theoretical research which can't impact people's lives.
Hmm. You see, the fact that we do not see the impact immediately does not mean it can't impact people's life. Believe me, a lot of the theories we're using to solve problems now, when the people that founded those theories made them, they probably did not realize how much impact they would have now, decades later, when they were doing the research. For example, some of the highly cited Arnold papers, Van Dyke Drescher, what's the guy's name? He couldn't have foreseen how highly impactful his work will be, in the future. They were just doing it out of passion. They were just doing it out of curiosity. And you see, a lot of the things we're doing, I forgot the exact word, the way it's said, but curiosity is what drives, a scientist to
Yeah.
problem. It's not because they're expecting, like, we're not politicians that are expecting some big benefits at the end of something, or some big bonus, or expecting that, oh, when I say this, everything changes, boom. No, you know, that's why I said initially that there's going to be a drive you have that would that would be or there's going to be something that drives your passion, or that drives the kind of research you're doing. So you may not see the direct impact when you were doing the JAPA paper. You were not expecting it to blow up like that.
No.
You just had an idea, and it wasn't something that's been done before. And I'm glad you actually said it took you 2 years to work on it. Like, if someone looks at the paper now, they wouldn't have realized how long it took to do that. They only see the media frenzy and all of that. They don't realize it took you a while to develop it well. There have been a lot of drafts you've torn, you've taken away, but something keeps driving you. You know that this is interesting, you know. So I would say that you shouldn't let your focus be on what would be the impact, or the, how impactful or how popular or how influential this thing is going to be. Just let your drive come from the importance of what you're doing. Like I said, so for example, I don't apply for job or positions because of I need a job. Like, seriously, even when I'm looking for jobs, I don't just apply it to just everything that comes up. One of the things I really look at in a job is it a project that, no matter how tired I am, when I wake up in the morning, I do not sigh and feel like, oh God, I'm going to that place of work again. Oh God, I'm going to do that research again. No, I wake up and I feel like, oh yeah, again, let me go and read about the encephalitic viruses. Even though I'm tired, even though it may be challenging, but there's a drive in me. Like, I feel like I'm solving a problem that is very important to human health, important to animal health, important to public health, or to governmental policies, or to the environment. So that's where I get my drive from, the importance of the particular project. Whether my paper is cited or not, that's not what I'm looking at. Whether it blows out or not, that's not what I'm looking at. I'm just interested in solving that problem. And the truth is that many of the work we're doing today is not going to be appreciated until maybe 10, 20 years time to come. That's why some young people will be digging and looking for, what's been done on JAPA work and anything out there. And then that's where your work will be cited like no man's no man's thing. That's its time for it to bloom. So you don't do a research, or, I mean, in my opinion, you don't do a research because you're expecting that oh, at the end, this should blow out, or this should be like this, and all of that. Do it because you're passionate about the thing. And that's why I said the other time that don't just don't just develop a mathematical problem because you just want to tweak one thing or the other, not because there is something very novel. A lot of the papers we publish, I'm sorry to say, in Africa, they're not very novel. Like I see a lot of papers come out, and I just, in the past couple of years, I've seen myself saying, oh, same thing, like, boring. Because most people are just doing the same things and just changing one parameter, or maybe some recent trends also just add some kind of control that are not really data driven or idea driven, just to change or make a new model and things like that. That may not be impactful because it's just a card amongst many cards. So just get your drive from your interest in the project. Let that be what will drive you. Get into something meaningful, something impactful, something that truly answers a question, that truly answers a problem, not just another model, just, for research sake. And don't bother about I don't bother my head with how many citations I have. Like sometimes when I get some of those things, I'm like, oh, okay, someone has cited it. Okay, that's good. All good, all well. You may not even get it cited until 10 years after. Then some people will be doing some research, which may not even be in the field of mathematics. That's interesting. Just like Dr. Jamil, has said. It may even be someone in the field of finance, like one of my papers, it's people that are not even, some people that are not even mathematicians are citing it, value of information analysis. It's a part of decision theory. So yeah, don't let that be your drive. Don't let the impact at the end be your drive. The impact of what you're trying to answer, you know I hope I'm making sense of what I'm saying, should be what will drive you. The importance of that problem, how important it is, whether it's in the abstract world, whether it's a theoretical problem or an applied problem. What is the importance of this problem should be what should be driving you. Yeah, so yeah, I think the routine will still be the same to the mantra. I know, yeah, I know you're right, and I touched on that briefly before. I know it's challenging, and trust me, the whole publish or perish mantra is everywhere. It's academia. It's everywhere.
It's
Um,
it's
so
just
like I,
yeah.
yeah, it's academia. So you just got to strike a balance.
Mhm.
Doing something novel can take time, to be honest. So, but you've got to still strike a balance between quickly publishing and doing something novel to really. But I think I've just got into a stage where I feel like I don't want to just do research just for doing research sake. Like, I want to publish in high impact journals. And for you to get into high impact journals, you've got to be doing something quality, a work that would be thoroughly looked at by people that are top people in your fields. So my work is taking me more time to get out there because I'm looking for those kind of quality. But the thing is, once you build a track record in an area, it gets easier. It gets
Yeah.
easier. Then you keep building on existing work. I think one of the challenge with people like me who've been hopping from one field to the other is building a track record, which is one of the main challenges I've had in my career because I've gone from decision theory, developing some new methods in value of information analysis. I've gone to road crash modeling, modeling different types of road crashes on Queensland roads. I've gone to environmental modeling, doing conservation, systematic conservation planning for Antarctica. The work is not yet published, and then I've gone into a little bit of cancer research, and now I'm into infectious disease modeling. So those kind of things can be challenging, jumping from projects to the other, because it's harder to build a track record in one area. But if you're lucky enough to be in around one area, then it gets easier, and then you keep building on previous work. But yeah, publish or perish, get a balance to it. And I think maybe one of the ways you can help yourself is by networking and collaborating. Because if you stay on just your work, it will be hard to break through. When I first got here, I remember the first year there was a guy graduating. He was a Nigerian, actually, and he was graduating with like 9 publications. I was like, what? How did he do it? He was in the field of engineering. And he
Yeah.
felt like his name was Isaac. I forgot his last name now. He felt like a genius to me. I felt like, how? Like, how? I'm struggling to even make one publication. But then we must know that fields are different. There are fields that they have experiments that, whether it works or not, they can publish a paper and say, this is the way not to do this experiment. This is the way to do this experiment.
Yeah.
We found this did not work. So we know that all of those things are there. But then as I advanced in research, I realized that one of the things that really worked for him was the fact that it was in a research lab where they collaborate. So he had his name on, then I didn't realize the importance of being a first author or the amount of work you would have done to be a first author on a paper. It was on so many papers, it was like maybe fifth author or sixth author or third
Yeah.
author, just contributing little things and all of that. But those are counting to his papers. But he also had, quite a number of first author paper. So don't just stay where you are. Reach out, collaborate with people, network with people. Try to contribute your quota to research projects. When people call for workshops, go there and follow through. When they give tasks, when they asking who will be interested in getting this thing published, raise up your hand. It's going to take a lot of work, sometimes even midnight work, outside hours work to do some of these things. But these are some of the ways you can bridge the gap of the publish or perish thing. But again, still go back to really, you know, the more important research, things that are genuinely impactful, things that truly add to knowledge. I'm sure Dr. Jimmy may have one or two things to share because he's my boss. He's my boss in this area.
Please don't. In fact, the funniest thing is this. Let me just throw this out there. Um, for anyone who wants to, collaborate or do that, you have Dr. Deborah here. She just gave you the way out. Yeah. So
Dr. Jimmy, don't throw me under the bus. I'm looking up to you. Please look at Dr. Jimmy. Don't mind him. I'm tagging along with him.
no, no. Of course she's there. And to be honest, to add this to what you've said, one of the reasons why the Jackpot paper took 2 years was because sometimes life happens, and in the middle of that, how do you stay? How do you keep your head up? There's somebody on the team. We call him our chief modeler. So in a way, I've been able to turn that space into a lab. If you go to my website, you see a button called the Jackpot Project, and you will meet some of those guys who are there, like Dr. Dansu, Japan, somebody from Highland, somebody from South Africa, Nigeria, Germany, places like that. And well, they see me as the frontier. But the funniest thing is that there is somebody there who is in the US now. He would always tell me and say, Dr. Adejimi, this paper will blow because what you are doing, number one, is for policy making. Number two, nobody has seen it in this light from the mathematical perspective. And number three, is showing that mathematics has a say on the table, meaning we're not just doing X and Y. Whatever we are doing actually shows to policymakers that this thing is possible, a more reason to invest in that field. And because of that, I looked at it that I'm not, these are my teams. They are my guys in the lab. What can I do? When the media came out, their names were there because I'm the one seeing, but it is all of us doing the job.
Hmm.
Yeah. And because of that, in a short while, I keep receiving. So my area of specialization is in two forms. And that's what I've been able to narrow it down, which is infectious disease and social modeling. The infectious disease part is becoming more saturated, like you said, people reinventing things like that. The last time I interviewed Professor Abdul Atagana, he said something. He said, in Africa, stop reinventing things because you check this paper, you check this paper, you check that paper, parameter things like that. Like my present work now is even combining both the compartmental model and machine learning and algorithms together. So
Okay.
interdisciplinary research is what brings in the best. So I
mm,
sat down and I look at social modeling in Africa is really not a place where people have, explored. And we started it. I did some work on migration and unemployment, social bullying and things like that.
mm,
After Jackback came out, I began receiving review emails from journals, Q1 journals, this, that
yeah.
you have been chosen to review this paper and things like that. And I see my paper being cited in that paper. And so finding a niche
Mm,
and looking ahead,
yeah.
what can be done is what can help you. Uh, um, Abiodun, I think your question has actually been answered by what I'm seeing, here. So there's another person that said something.
Sorry. Okay. Before you, is it Olabisi's response you wanted to read? Because I wanted to just say
Oh, you can
something.
say something on that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Thank you very much, Olabisi. Thanks for joining us. So you said that I believe as a starting researcher, you may have less control over your research direction, which is very true. You have more ability to explore any exciting area and independence after you're done with a PhD. That's true. I believe you should just find interconnected areas. Yeah, yeah, that's actually that there's a lot of truth to that. That's very true. And the truth is that even sometimes, even after PhD, you may not even have a lot of flexibility because probably you are hired to work on a project of some fellow who got funding for a particular research, and that's the research you have to do. Like you're not the research questions are already there, the problem is already there, you're just hired to solve the problem. So but then how do you then define your own research direction? Again, collaboration, networking with people. Like I just gave an example of a PhD student I saw. It kept networking, he kept networking with people, and he was contributing to different kind of, I know it can be challenging, depends on the kind of research lab you're in. It also can depend on the kind of supervisor you had. So all of these things, there's no one size fit all kind of approach to them, but you've just got to try, network, attend workshops, but probably not in the first year if you're still learning how to do research, so you don't get confused and all of that. You've got to first get a footing in your research. I'm not talking about saying it to you, Olabisi. I'm just saying in general, like to a PhD student, the person that first got to get a footing, even to even know how to do research in the first place. And then when you've gotten a hang of your project, if you can, because the truth is, not everyone that really knows how to manage these things, probably subject yourself to some kind of mentoring. One of the first collaborations, or some of the first collaborations I was reaching out for then were those with mentors, people who knew that I was still growing, I still had a lot to learn. And then they were just kind of involving me, to help me to grow and all of that. None of those work ended up being published, but it helped me to grow. It helped me to learn how to do research, how to collaborate with people. Everyone just went on with their lives and all that. People got engaged in with different projects from different grants, and some of those works were left unpublished. But what I'm saying is that even as a PhD student, where you do not have a lot of control over your primary research direction, you can still collaborate with people. You can still do things, and some of these collaborations, as far as you're not doing it at the time you're hired, you're free to do them. But I know context will be different because I came from Africa, so I know how things could be. There are some that if you do not get permission from your supervisor, you're in soup. So understand the kind of person you're working with and do the
Yeah.
right thing by them. If you have to wait, but just develop the networks already as you're going to conferences, link up with people, attend workshops and things like that. So you may please go ahead, Dr. Jimmy.
Yeah. So there's a question here from, if I mention the name, you would laugh.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's from Professor Farai here, but
What?
so he said, what was the most challenging thing that you had to go through as a Black woman that you overcame and be where you are right now?
What was the most challenging thing I had to go through? Hmm.
If I may remember, that's your master's supervisor.
That's correct. All right. It's good to hear from him again.
We're going to be
Um,
bringing him down here soon. We hope so.
yeah, yeah, that would be awesome. I would say it's hmm. I would say it's I'm looking for the right word to say this, or the right way to say. Um, but I would say it's from being at the receiving end of systemic racism. Well, maybe not systemic. No, I wouldn't say systemic. No, no, sorry, I take that back. So not systemic, but racism from individuals, unconscious biases. Something happened to me just yesterday. I went on Facebook Place. I needed carpenter to come and do some work for me in the house. So I wanted to turn the place to a storage area. And then I reached out to a few carpenters on Facebook Place. I've already tried to get some other licensed builder, like, I guess they get a lot of jobs and it's hard to get a hold of them. So I went on Facebook Marketplace and I sent message to a few carpenters. And then my message was that I need this job done with a minimum amount. He said, "What's your budget?" And I'm like, "I need it done with a minimum amount possible, but I need a good job." And then he said, "Okay, yeah, that he's a licensed builder, that he only does good job." Now look at that. So I said, my first thing was, my first message was, I want to do this thing, but I'm on a budget. I
Yeah.
didn't say what my budget was. I just said I'm on a budget. I've gotten a quote, so I know how much that could cost me, whether on the high side or on the low side. I know I could even go for some ready-made structures and get it fitted into that place. So I have an idea, and I've already prepared for that. But then, you don't want to go and say, "Oh, I've I have I've put this amount of money for this project." So I just said I'm on a budget. And then he said, "Oh, I'm a licensed builder. I only do good jobs." And I said, "Yes, I want a good job. A good job is what I want with the minimum cost possible." And then he said, "I'm a licensed builder. Maybe you should go and look for an handyman." So I don't know. Yeah, right. Though I don't know how I can explain that to people here who may not really understand. So like the licensed builder is like people that build, maybe that probably build houses, that are really, really recognized in the industry. They build houses, maybe they build for companies. And then he's asking me to go and look for like an abele, or just I don't know how to explain it. Like just an abele carpenter to go like go and look for handyman. And I was condescending. And then I said, okay. And then I said, oh, he said because he doesn't do cheap. And I said because I said whatever okay, before he said he doesn't do cheap, I said, you know what? Whatever bias you have that made you to say that I should go and look for a handyman, I said, I don't know. But if you think I cannot pay your worth, then I don't want to work with you. Have a good day. And then I
Mm.
think when I said whatever unconscious bias you had, he then probably took a step back and then he said, no, but because I kept saying cheap. I said, no, I didn't say cheap. And then I quoted the words I said. I said, I wrote on a budget and minimum possible does not mean cheap. It just means that I want to get a good job, but I don't want to pay your extravagant money because some of them will quote you. I've got quotes, you could get $15,000. Another would quote $10,000 for the same job. So I want a good job, but I want to pay the minimum possible. And then I think me addressing or calling out his error kind of made him know that okay, I'm not talking to just anybody, kind of, even though I'm not out there making it. And then I said, your comment was up there was condescending because it
Yeah.
was. And then he realized it was, okay, I know I want a builder and I'm approaching you as a builder. Then I'm going somewhere. There's a reason I'm saying all of this. And then just because probably he saw my picture and whatever bias he had in his head or in his mind to make him think that it's an handyman you should go and look for. I didn't say come and do it cheaply. I did not even give him a range of money. I just said, I'm on a budget. I need this job done, you know. And okay, he apologized and I said, okay, I'll consider sending you. But I've not sent him what I want. I went, I'm talking to someone else and I may still tell him what I want, but we get these things every day.
Yeah.
We get distance every day. I was to lecture a class some years ago, maybe 6, 7 years ago or 8 years ago. And I got into the class and I've got a small frame. If you saw me, you think maybe I'm an undergraduate. And then I entered the class and the students were like looking like, where is the lecturer? And I just entered with a straight face. I said, hello, good morning. I'm your lecturer for today. And then everyone sat up and it was like, oh, okay. And it was quite hard, like the first few minutes, because you could already tell the kind of look from the kids, like, is it this
Yeah.
person? You're not just looking small, you're now, you now have this beautiful color. So what I'm saying is that we face a lot of unconscious bias. We
Mm.
face a lot. Dr. Jimmy, I said I should forgive the carpenter. I hold nothing against him. I mean, we face this a lot. Like we
Yeah.
face this a lot. The only thing is that we must not always accept it, because someone else may not understand what he was insinuating when he said he's a licensed builder. I should go and look for a handyman. And I was like, what do you mean? How much do you
Mm.
want to collect? What makes you think I can't pay you? I knew when I reached out to you. So what makes you think I can't pay you for it? So I should go and look for an handyman. We
Yeah.
face this thing. Dr. Jimmy, would you believe that? I mean, I don't know whether you were the one I was hinting that I had a job for an organization for a short period last year. I think I told, okay,
Yeah.
no, I think it was, yeah,
I'm
but
not-
probably I was giving more details to
Yeah.
Dr. Aaron. But would you believe that one of the things my manager said was that probably she doesn't even know how to load data in R. This was last year, September, October. Like,
Really?
yes, like the kind of some kind of insult. And I was like, what?
It's very possible because sometimes, yeah, it's very possible. Sometimes they can be very, permit me to use the word nasty. Yeah.
so yeah, we got a lot of just looking at you, it's assumed that you're dumb. It's assumed that you don't really know what you're doing, so that's a challenge. So I would say it probably comes more from my race than it is from my gender, because I get these, in fact, most of the nastiest comments or treatment I've gotten have been from the same gender. I've been from the same gender, but Caucasian. Yeah, so again, like I said before, I don't like to have a victim mentality, but these
Yeah.
things are there. So the unconscious biases is there. Some of the comments, we were going to go for a conference, and one of the people I was working with was like, yeah, I know you may be excited, you may have this excitement of wanting to go to South America. And I was like, it was true, and it was on an email. And I was like, number one, what made you think I did not have my last holiday in South America?
Yeah.
You know those kind of stereotyping. Because if I wasn't black, if I was Caucasian, you wouldn't have assumed that I want to go to a conference just because I'm excited. Like, I've been to most continents of the world. Have you even seen? Do you know where I've been to? you know, like, what made you think I didn't spend my last holiday in South America? For you to have said you probably felt that it's the excitement of going to. It's a lot of inconvenience going for a 3-day conference, arriving on the day of conference, leaving on the last day of conference, and I'm leaving a family behind. Like, where is even the time to walk around? I don't even have a friend there that I would say I want to catch up with. So, I'm giving all of these examples, and that was the last time I spoke to that person officially, that we were working with. So all of these things affect so many things, because you get into a room, sometimes you're treated like a second class citizen. You're treated sometimes like, and it's not everyone. Some of the nicest treatments I've also gotten are from similar female genders. Like, I was speaking earlier of Professor Karen Mengerson to Dr. Jimmy some days ago. Like, she's a woman, she's Caucasian, she's elderly, and she's giving me the most motherly care and support I've ever had, in research and as a role model and as a mentor. So it's not everybody, it's not all the time, but some of these things affect us. Some of these things, dampen our spirit sometimes. And sometimes they even indeed imprint on us some of the imposter syndrome. So I would say that that's my major challenge. I can't change my skin color. I cannot change my gender. I can only toughen up and just try to work, sadly, work harder to prove myself. I'm sure Dr. Jimmy can relate to this because you've got to work a bit harder than your other counterparts to prove yourself, to show that you are actually capable, to show that you can actually do this thing. And those are the things that would give you more voice. So I would say that's been my major challenge, not
Mm.
even mainly as a woman, because I've got quite a number of females also around me in the department and around. So I've got quite a number of people that look like me. But when it comes to the unconscious bias, it's there, and that's the major challenge. Yeah,
Yeah.
sorry for my long story. I just thought I'll give you a very quick example of
Uh,
even just what happened less than 24 hours. It's
Yeah.
not even yet, yeah, less than 24 hours ago.
I understand. I'll give an example. So here, I was in the kitchen and a professor came. You know, like yes, we all have small stature. Very. In fact, I think my wife asked me to keep this so I can look, more matured. In a way. And so, well, and where we come from, we give respect. Once you're a professor, you should respect people.
That's right.
Yes, I was in the kitchen trying to watch my plate, and I gave him an excuse, like, okay, just do what you want to do, then I'll come back. And the guy said, okay, so when did you come here? So I said, last year. It's okay. Are you a scholar? I said, yes. Hmm. I did like this. So I sat down. I was like, what do you mean? You mean we who come from that continent are not, because he's from the Asian continent, and all of his students, all these postdocs and the lab members are all the Asian part. So I said, what do you mean? Hey, I said in my mind, I said, guy, hey, hey, if we meet outside, I will deal with you. What do you you mean we who came from
You
the
don't get
African
people asking
continent?
you why you speak such a good English. Like I get that a lot.
Well, of course,
I
yeah,
get people asking me, even from when I was just a few years or 1 year, I talk to someone and they're like, "Oh, how long have you been in Australia?" So before I didn't realize that's where it's going. Those kind of
yeah,
conversations, they'll say, and I may say maybe 1 or 2 years. Even those whom I've said maybe 10 years or 11 years, and they're like, "Oh wow, you speak so well." Do they? And in my head, I'm like, and sometimes I would say, "Yeah, we're a British colony. We speak like I even spoke English before I really speak good Yoruba.
yeah,
I was in Nigeria, like because we're made to feel like Yoruba is a second class
language,
language and we have to first speak up English. And the truth is that like even till now sometimes we went to visit some people and they treated us well. They gave us very good hospitality and I was like my husband was there and I was like, oh te wase afeferere, you know, and 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 the people were like, no, what do you mean? And my husband was like, please don't mind that she doesn't she's not as versatile with Yoruba the way she is. Afeferere, thing else afeferere is for those
yeah,
someone dead, right? But in my head, I was like, it's like they gave us good treatment and that's what I thought. So like we're brought up to even understand English more than Yoruba. But then someone meets you here and feels like, how could you be speaking so well? Like were you born here? But then, those kind of you're not expected to be brilliant. You're not expected to be bright enough. You speak English and they're surprised you can speak so well. And some of them
yeah.
cannot even hide it. So yeah, yeah,
So,
those things are there, and I mean, so I think one of the ways I just overcome it is I'm learning to get myself out of toxic environments,
mhm,
taking myself out of toxic places. Sometimes it's hard because the toxicity may even be coming from your supervisor. It may be
yeah,
coming from your research mates and all that places you cannot just run away from. But again, going back to what I said before, having a support system, some of the support systems, you cannot even outrightly tell them that you are facing some of this unconscious bias. Ideally, you should, but probably because you don't want to create a problem for whoever you're working with and things like that. But just have a support system, have a place where you draw your strength from. And I'm telling you again, one of the places I draw my strength from is from the Word of God. I remind myself who I am. Like, I'm not a second fiddle, I'm not a second class citizen. I am original. I am who God says I am.
mhm,
And then I also connect to people of like minds to remind myself who I am. Because sometimes the world would make you feel like you don't belong here. Like I've had people tell me, go back to your country, like as if you
Yeah.
don't belong here. Or you live in an area and it felt like you don't deserve to be in this area. Things like that. So it's just about you have to keep reorientating yourself. And I listen to talks and things like that to remind myself that I belong here. Community of other Black professionals that are doing great things, and we sharpen ourselves, remind
Yeah.
ourselves that we belong here. Like I posted on LinkedIn a while, that if they don't create a space for you at the table, you bring your table or you create your own table. Sometimes it's heartbreaking. Like I've seen cases where I've been intentionally not involved in something that I have expertise for, and then they just put only themselves together. It's very heartbreaking. But then I just like, you know what? Just go do great things with some other people who are willing. Just, get your own people, get your own support system and do great things and ignore them. And like people say, they say the best revenge is success, right? Just
Out.
excel where you're at. So yeah, those have been some of my own challenges.
Yeah. So I'm just gonna say something, then open the floor to questions. The chat has really been very uh eventful.
Mm.
So this is something I tell myself. PhD and a professor, a doctor and a professor. The truth of the matter is you both are on the same level by qualification,
That's
which is
correct.
a PhD is a PhD. If we meet outside, we respect ourselves. If we meet ourselves on campus, we respect. PhD is PhD.
In the Western world, though, don't listen to people in Africa. Oh, Dr. Jimmy, you know how it is now. We know the system we all came out from. In
Yeah,
the Western world, it's like that.
yeah, it's always. Well, in Africa, you have to be careful. Don't go and tell the professor PhD is PhD. Oh boy, you know. So, and I'll just be like, see, a professor, it's a title.
Yeah,
You might, to God's glory, I've been able to acquire. When I look at the total number of grants I've acquired, it's close to about, I think, maybe $350,000. It might
yeah,
not be as much as a professor who has acquired in total of his lifetime a grant of 5 million, 10 million. But the truth of the matter is, in my space,
yeah.
celebrate myself. You can't take it away from me. So, on the table, I have something to say. If you don't give me what to say, I say the thing. Because number one, my complexion actually gives me the distinction. You can't be
Mm.
like my skin. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So that makes me that when I'm there, already I am the light because man, I'm the only black guy. Yeah, and I'm proud of it. I don't have skin cancer. I can spread myself in the sun.
Although it can be hard to be a Nigerian outside. The first
Yeah,
week I got to Australia, the first thing in the news was about some Nigerians scamming scamming people, and it's embarrassing to be honest, because you just got to a country and then everyone is always asking you where you from, and then it's a bit hard. You're like, oh my god, Nigeria was
yeah.
just in the news, and you're trying to, but then I just like put my head up. Yeah, I'm Nigerian. Yeah, whatever you want to say it to my face. Or
So that's
sometimes,
why that's
sometimes
why
I,
you have to be distinct and be know when to abase, know when to abound, wisdom, intelligence,
yeah,
and just know that see, you have a space at the table.
that's correct.
Yeah, you have a space. They can't take it away from you. My professor would tell me is in Nigeria. He said even if you are saying something stupid, defend it like it is novel.
That's what my husband says. My husband studied vet medicine, and they said they taught
Yeah,
them that even when you're saying rubbish, say it confidently.
defend like it's novel. So it's
Yeah.
great. So I'm opening the floor because I want to make sure that it's strictly 2 hours. So we have approximately um maybe 21 minutes. Yeah. So I'm opening the floor to questions and answers. Perhaps if you have questions for Dr. Deborah. I don't know why I'm calling you Deborah. It's Dr. Deborah.
Come on, I'm Deborah. It's okay.
So I just notify that you have a question, then I would be able to call you from here. Okay, Adepoju, you have a question, then you can unmute yourself and ask the question.
All right. Good afternoon, sir. Good
Yeah.
afternoon, Dr. Deborah.
Good afternoon.
Just to be sure. Okay, I'm here. Thank you very much for a wonderful session. It was very profound and insightful. Thank you very much. So I just want to ask one question which I feel possibly you didn't talk about. I don't know if you can help discuss briefly about how you were able to navigate in the aspect of scholarships, because I heard while introducing yourself that it was through scholarship you moved from your master's to
Mm,
PhD and all of that. So I don't know if you could possibly talk to young let me use the word upcoming scholars
mm.
like me. Yeah, let me put it that way. Upcoming scholars. So if you could tell us, especially in the world of mathematics, what chances do we have? How do we ensure that we get the best out of this? In fact, how do we even get the scholarship first before we
Mm.
now begin to talk about how we can make world class research and all of that? So that's my first question, ma'am.
Thank you very much, Adepoju. You've asked a very good question and a common question we get. So you see, I will I'll answer it this way. Like I said, my faith, I can't separate it from who I am. You see, a lot of the things I've gotten is by the grace of God, and I'll give you an example so you see what I mean when I say it's the grace of God. It's truly the grace of God. Without Him, I can do nothing, to be honest. But having said that, when God was going to talking in the Bible now, for those of us who are familiar, when God was going to open the Red Sea, and they got to the Red Sea, the Egyptians were behind, and the people were like, "Oh, Moses, why did you bring us here?" and all of that. And Moses too was like, "God, now your hand I do. What do I do now?" God said, "What's in your hand? You've got a staff. Then use it, stretch it. You've got a solution in your hand already." And where I'm going is that, the grace of God works on what's in your hand. You know, it works on what you already have because God is not a magician. And where I'm going with that is academic excellence. Academic excellence will open a lot of doors to you. Then they used to say, "Oh, first class na scam. You don't need first class." I had colleagues then that would say, I don't need book to talk. Me, I don't say I need book because my papa no get money." Those people that were saying those things, they had fathers that had companies, they were well connected and all of that. I know where I'm coming from. I know the kind of home I came from. I know that it's the grace of God that I'm in UI, that I'm surviving. And, I was very entrepreneurial, even right from UI. I was always baking cakes. I was sewing. I'd been sewing before then, making money from different things to sustain myself and not always asking for money from home. So I know where I come from. So I'm not the type that would say first class now, whatever. No. So by God's grace, I had a first class, from that, and it opened a lot of ways for me. So and this is one of the reasons I indeed believe in catching them young, like letting people know on time that they've got to be serious with their studies and be focused from a very young age. Because now, how do you tell a final year student who's been on a 2-2 that they need academic excellence? It's harder, than if they had known from first year that, look, if you're going to get a lot of scholarships, one of the first things you need is academic excellence. It opens doors for you, believe me. So that's why I came from the story of Moses, that God said, "What's in your hand?" So that's those good results on their own in the first place will open door to you. Now, the second thing is information. And I cannot overemphasize that information, information, information. Dr. Jimmy, you can testify to it. Here, even here in Australia, you can
Yeah.
be entitled to something and you will not get it. If you do not have the information and pursue that thing, you can be entitled to some money from the government. The
Yeah.
government will come and give it to you. They will not knock your door and say, Deborah, do you know you actually are entitled to this money? If you do not have the information and apply to get that money, you will not get the money. So information is very key. So I think, and that's one of the things that helped me because I got informed about the African Institute for Mathematical Sciences. That's one. And then one of the scholarships I had during my PhD, the Schlumberger Faculty for the Future Women's Scholarship, I had it for 3 years during my PhD. In addition to the scholarship that brought me to Australia, I got to know about it because Professor Deborah Ajayi in the University of Ibadan then, I think she was traveling then because she was on that scholarship, on that funding. So I became aware of it even when I did not need it. So when I needed it, I remembered it, and then I sought for information on it, and thank God I got it. But again, like I said, it's got to be with the wand in your hand that would open the door. So is it that there is no hope for people without the first classes and all that? No, there are still lots of opportunities out there, but you've got to search for them. You've got to ask questions. You see, one of my challenge with, I get a few DMs, maybe a lot less than you do, from people and things they can easily Google. They'll be asking you for something. You say, oh, check the department of so, check the scholarships and apply for them. And they're saying, where do I see it? I already told you the name of the university. Just go on Google. This university, School of Mathematical Sciences, this. But sometimes many people are lazy to even do research. Before I got some of the scholarships I got, I was subscribed to a lot of scholarship websites. If I remember then, my Yahoo Mail, oh my God. I would get a lot, tons and tons of scholarship notifications. I did not apply for, in fact, I think I only applied for a handful of admissions, which I got. I think maybe just one or two. I got all the admissions, but I didn't get the scholarship. Maybe one I got a stipend. I can't remember clearly anymore. But I got the full funding for AIMS South Africa. So academic excellence will open a lot of doors to you that connection may not, get for you, especially if you don't have the connection. If you're like me, that the only God will get, the only God will get. My papa don't know anybody. So that would open doors for you, but also seek information and seek
Yeah.
knowledge. Like I said before, is there no hope for 2-1 and 2-2 or whatever? No, upskill. You see, many people, they just sit down with just their degree. Upskill, like, you know, like things are even a lot easier because there are lots of courses you can audit online without even getting the certificates. But you can even go the extra mile of getting the certificates. So you have it in there, and then it gives you a bit more leverage beyond what you've had from whether first degree or second degree. Upskill, keep upskilling. As I am, today is Sunday right now. On Tuesday, there's a workshop I'm going to on spatial epidemiology. I'm sure I know many of the things they want to teach there, but there would also be something I'm going to learn because I've seen the outline of the workshop. It's a 3-day, full day workshop. I know I'm still going to learn something from it. So I keep learning. I keep adding to my arsenal of tools and all of that because I want to be the best at what I do. So keep learning, upskill. And I know that there's a lot of distraction in our world today, and we are not immune to the distractions either on social media and internet and YouTube and everything. But if you know where you're going, then you remove some of the distractions from your way and you realize you'll have a lot of time to upskill and to get better at things. Because the more skill you have, then the more you'll be wanted, the more you distinguish yourself from the crowd. Because I tell you, the resources are limited for a
Yeah.
lot of people. And truth be told, funds are drying up. Even in the Western world, it's getting more and more challenging, even with people that are very skilled to get opportunities to get jobs. So how do you distinguish yourself? You've got to bring something extra to the table. So keep upskilling, keep learning, keep seeking information, and do research. Do research. There's a lot of scholarships out there. Some of them do not even need you to be a first class. You just have to apply and don't be discouraged. I'll say that. You can get a lot of rejection emails, and you get a rejection email, you just say, you're lost, on to the next one. And then you move on. Anyone that rejects you is their loss because then they're not going to be able to get the benefit of all that you have to offer. So I know it can be challenging, but just, the Bible says David encouraged himself in the Lord. So you always have to learn to encourage yourself, even when you get all the no's and all the rejections. when you look at the profile of some people that are really up there, I think if some of us have been quite fortunate and blessed, I would say I've gotten very few rejections when it comes to things like that. And again, like I've told you, it's the grace of God. Honestly, for me, it's the grace of God. But I'm also someone that I was discussing with Dr. Jimmy some days ago. I often ask God for spiritual direction before I do things because I don't believe in trial and error. I believe that God knows all things. He sees tomorrow. He can direct me. Like, I'm your child. You know the way. So why do I have to do trial and error? Why do I have to try UK and the US first? Like, he knows the way. When I was at Ames, we had people from the US and the UK, Heriot University, and I forgot the universities in the US. They came with scholarship forms. We were just to fill them. I took the forms. I didn't fill the forms because God already told me He was taking me to Australia. It didn't make sense to my colleagues. They were like, "Are you crazy? You have scholarship here. You're saying Australia. You have admission in Australia. You don't have scholarship." So that was why I had to go on to do another master's by research because then I got a scholarship for my master's by research with Professor Farah Yebadza. I got some Ames scholarship, partial funding from Ames and partial funding from Stellenbosch. Again, on merit basis, which again, like I said, academic excellence will keep opening doorways for you because I also finished with a cum laude from Ames. So that helped me to secure funds and I got that. And by the time I was going to get the scholarship that brought me to Australia, doctor, it was a scholarship, it was the Fred Abbott scholarship. It's given to just one PhD student in the world, coming from anywhere in the world to study in Queensland or from Queensland to anywhere in the world. Like just one spot. Now, I had no publications. Till today, I don't know if when I got here, I asked one of them, I said, why did you give me the scholarship? Like, why did you? Because when something is too good to be true, like you're like, how? Why do you guys think it's me that you should give it? And they said, we just felt you were qualified, you know, we just felt you were because I was just too stunned. Like, but you see, when God says it, He will do it. And
Yeah.
that alone, it was enough for me to know that, come on, when God gives you direction, it's just going to make it work. It's become His project and He keeps to His word. When you keep to your part of the bargain, I'm sorry, it looks like I'm preaching, but again, it's just so hard to remove that part of me because that is the truth, because that's my so there is that part of me. So I'm not just saying academic excellence and I'm not just saying pray God. No, I don't believe in just prayer without works. It's stupid. You can't just be saying you're praying and you're not doing your part. What is God going to work with? God worked with the rod in the hand of Moses. When God was going to seek for David, He saw someone that was already very busy, someone that was already very passionate with the animals that were in his care, someone that could give his life even for the animals in his care. That was the kind of person He went to look for. He didn't go to look for the finest boy like Samuel thought, maybe the tallest or the most handsome, probably because God chose Saul that was tall. He was looking for someone that's got something doing, something in their hands already, that got the skills. So even if God can be looking for the skill or what's in your hand, how much more of humans? So you've got to upskill, you've got to make yourself, add excellence. But I would also encourage you, you've got to add God into the mix because that's what's really helped me. And when I said I've not gotten so much rejections, is the truth. But I also follow, my Bible tells me that it is God that works in us both to will and to do of His good pleasure. I see a project and I love it. It's in my soul, and I'm like, oh God, I love this job and all of that. And then I pray about it, I apply. Most of the jobs I've ever applied for, I get them. I'd rather even be the one declining one and saying, no, I don't want this one. I don't. And this is in the midst of sometimes me thinking, I did not even realize how good I had it until I heard so many other people. So just to cut the long story short, academic excellence, go to seek information, ask questions, do research, and you have to keep upskilling to distinguish yourself and keep applying. And don't just do shoddy jobs like, you know, don't just, some people they tell them to write a personal statement and they just write something as if a shagba, just take. No, apply excellence to every single thing you do. It's got to be excellence. It's excellence or nothing. And that same thing follows me into business. It can sometimes hinder one from even doing anything because if you're a stickler for excellence, it may stop you from starting out. So you've got to strike a balance. between excellence and and just giving things a trial. But whatever you do, just try your best to make it good. When you write, try your best to make it good. Edit and edit and edit. You get emails or messages from graduates, they don't even put full stops. They don't capitalize the sentences. Just little things. Some of your recruiters will see someone and they're just put off like, what is this? Are we joking here? So be intentional with everything you do. And I believe the sky's the starting point. I'm sure Dr. Jimmy may have one or two things to add to that.
Yep. Before I round up, you know the funniest thing? I finished with a 2-2.
Wow. What? Are you serious?
Yeah.
Wow. You see?
Yeah, I finished with a 2-2. You know, our Nigerian university, how something just went wrong. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I finished with a 2-2.
With this brain, how did you do it? What happened? That's
It's
amazing.
like firstly, I would say it's God. Then secondly, I have a very strong determination. So when I look back and look at how did I get that strength and everything, I can't really say. But I've always been from day one of my life, like there is something that can be made different.
Hmm.
Whether I didn't finish with the first class, or I didn't finish with a 2-2, or that top part, I have something to do there. So it's not just a wishful thinking. So because I knew I had something to do there, yes, well, we have this. So what do I have in my hands? How bad is it? Okay, if it's very bad, what can I do to increase it? So I remember then I left University of Ado-Ekiti, went to Unilag. We just have to keep reading, have to keep doing everything. And so one of the things I want to say today is you must understand moment.
Hmm.
Yeah, you must understand moment and just keep working at it because you don't know when that moment will come.
Hmm.
Yeah,
So how to that? There was a statement I was going to say the other time that opportunity meets preparation.
exactly.
Opportunity meets preparation. Even before the opportunity comes, keep preparing. Keep preparing. Just to have it. And you're extremely very right because a lot of the things I've gotten, it's been preparation has been there. Like there's already something in your hand, and then the opportunity comes, and they all just coincide and it works out
Yeah.
for you.
It's almost as if the tutu is shocking to a quite number of people in the. I'm looking at the
Yeah,
chat.
I am very shocked, and I'm still gonna tell you, you need to write or talk about that. Like, how did you do that? I
Wow.
always think there's a way for people, but I've never really had a one-on-one.
In
I'm amazed.
fact, it's 2.98.
Wow.
Yeah, I finished with a 2-2, but I grew up in Mushin. Mushin is more or less like a ghetto. But all of those things is that they called for things that be not as though they were. All of those things are things that motivate me. That's
Yeah.
just the simple truth. Yeah, and I tell people, this person called Adepoju is like,
But I should also add that a Nigerian tutu can be a first class material here because
yeah,
the Nigerian system is another thing we don't want to talk about right now. But
at all.
it's not a lot of things, circumstances, situation, messes up a lot of things for many of us.
Yeah,
So that you have a tutu in Nigeria, we've seen that's why a lot of Nigerians when they come here they excel,
exactly.
irrespective of the degree they came out from Nigeria, as far as they're focused and they know what they're doing. So
Yeah.
yeah, I should just say that.
The way people are surprised there, the day I told my uncle's wife, because I wanted to speak with the children and try and advise them. So I told my uncle's wife, like, do you know I finished with a 2-2? She said, no. No. That I finished with a first class. I said, it's not on my forehead. I finished with a 2-2. And I'm always bold to tell people, like, see, if you finish with a 2-2, you have what it takes to one day I know you're a first class person, so just permit me to say this. I told somebody, I said, see here, we will finish with 2-2. We have what it takes not just to shake the table, we break the table.
Yeah, we break and we make it again.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because you're with first class, you have a greater advantage. So for us to speak volumes, we now go the extra mile to do the work. So it's like a do or die here. So that when we talk, we don't look like what we had, but we look like what everybody thinks we have, which is what the first class. And I will just stop there. I don't know. This is one.
There was a question I wish we answered. Something about AI. With the hype of AI, how has the AI affected the mathematics industry? Yeah, artificial intelligence is not just a hype; it's actually the way to go right now.
Yeah,
And if you've not found a way to add AI into your research, bring it in because it's the future, you know. And when we say AI, it's not something many of us already use artificial intelligence. We just don't realize like some of these little machine learning algorithms, you know, random forests, you know, some of these model. It's a buzzword, you know. So sometimes you don't even realize you're already doing using artificial intelligence. So, but you know, make sure you include start involving machine learning and some of these things, and they're easy to understand, they're easy to follow if you just give yourself to learning to learn, you know, they're
yeah,
easy to comprehend. So it's not just a hype. It's affecting the mathematics industry big time, and out here if you don't follow the trend, you're going to be dropped. And
yeah.
if you look at so many industries out there, the reason, like someone was saying about Canon, or which company was the one that first created camera, because they did not evolve into digital camera on time, they were outfaced, and it happens with so many tech companies also. So if you don't evolve as the world is evolving, you're going to be left behind before you
Yeah.
realize it. So don't be left behind. It's not just a hype. Out here, it's important. Like, in fact, many of the grant proposals now in mathematics research, especially applied mathematics research, if you're not involving, you know, generative AI or some form of AI or machine learning in your research,
They're not doing
it's
anything
not
yet.
carrying enough weight. Yeah, so it's not, it's real, it's the in thing, and it's making things easier. It's making our works more meaningful, it's making our predictions more meaningful, you know, more precise than before. So yeah, it's the way to go. And if you've not been considering it before, you should, especially if you're in an applied field. I don't know how that's going to help pure mathematics. Sorry, but I want to believe there would be some way for it also. Maybe in the future, maybe it's already there. I don't know, but we can
Yeah.
research. I just thought I'll touch on that. Yeah.
Yep. So to buttress that, the professor that said that was talking about grant and things like that, asking me, yeah, one of the things I'm doing here, I was told later that he picked it up and was showing it as something new, and they were like, "Hey, that guy has
Wow.
that guy has done it." So when I say him, the truth is this: you don't need to brag. I just walk past, but the atmosphere is talking. Everywhere is speaking. You are being seen. Your work is doing. Thank you very much, Dr. Deborah, for
Thank you.
making it a date with us here. I want to believe that everybody is blessed, everybody is happy, everybody has been inspired one way or the other. So go on LinkedIn. She's doing an amazing work there. Follow her on LinkedIn and want to collaborate, run after her. And
Run after Dr. Jimmy. Don't mind this man. Run after Dr. Jimmy. I'm running after him too. Yeah, yeah, that is good to see you, Adeshino. If you can put on your video, please
yes,
do.
because I
I
want to say that
like
we
it.
put
Yeah.
on the video because I want to take a shot. It's been a very I just want to ask us to open up our video because I want to take a screenshot. To be honest,
Someone is asking about what it takes to be a member of the Black and Math Association. So if you want to answer that.
yeah. So I will just say search for Black in Mathematics Association online, then send an email to the contact address there. Send an email to the contact address. Yeah. Let me greet Simanga, my brother from South Africa.
Hi, Samanga. Nice to meet you here.
Hi everyone. Nice to meet you too.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Yeah, I spent 6 years in South Africa, so I I know some of the stuff, Dumela, uh, even though
Oh yeah, right.
Hmm.
Even though sometimes we speak much of the English, but at least Then
Yeah.
I know chelete because everybody keep talking about chelete. That's money.
Yeah.
Yeah. So can we just please on our video so I can take a screenshot? I would really appreciate that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ah, Abiodun Alagbada, I can see you. Shayo, I can see you. Yeah. And additional, I can see you. Yep. Okay. I'm just waiting for just 1 more minute for the rest to join. Yeah. And as well, if you also want to collaborate, you can always send an email to the Black in Mathematics Association stating what you want. There is a Telegram group which have close to about 350 or 354 members there, where when you have any problem mathematically, you post it there or you want to collaborate with people, it's there. And scholarship opportunities, postdoctoral research positions, and lecturing positions are also advertised there. I might be the founder, but I have a very solid co-founder, which is Dr. Kayode or Shinobi. He's the one who sits and heads the research arm of the Black in Mathematics Association. And we have researchers from different part of Africa, master's, PhD students, all collaborating there and all transferring knowledge. Okay, so on this note, I just want to take the screenshot and okay, great, great. I've taken a screenshot. Yeah, so um, watch out for the next. How would I say it? If you follow me on LinkedIn or you follow Dr. Dansu on LinkedIn, you will see much of the next View space. We are looking forward to bringing Professor Farai in here, but we are looking forward to bring other veterans, mathematicians to discuss the way forward of Africa with mathematical modeling and things like that. So like I said, the Pivot Space is a platform that is not formal. We gist, we talk, you hear from the experience of people, you hear what they go through, you hear how they manage life. The truth of the matter is, mathematicians do have life. It's not all about the numbers alone. Yeah, it's not all about the numbers. Yeah. So I don't know if Dr. Deborah, you have 1 or 2 words within a minute to share to the people before we call it a day.
Oh yeah, once again, just thank you for having me, and thank you everyone for coming around. And I just want to say that you've got it in you. You can do it. Trust me. Whatever is being done out here, you can do it. You just need access to the right resources and use whatever you have to get what you want, and then you will get there. You have a lot of resources out there, both human resources and digital resources to your advantage. Make use of them well, plan your time well, ask questions, do research, and you will get there. As far as you're focused and diligent, and especially if you have God, you will get there. All the best. I look forward to reading your names high in the top journals and on TV and making policies and shifting things. Thank you so much for coming.
Yeah, thank you very much. Sibanga, thank you for the word. Like you felt at home and looking forward to more and more mentorship. Yeah, exactly. I want to appreciate everyone for being here. I know it's kind of expensive for you to know. We are also paying a sacrifice on our part. I am Dr. Deborah. It's 2 a.m. here, 2 a.m. On a Sunday. And the truth of the matter is sometimes people don't know what we do behind the scene to get some of this thing done or to get